Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, verses 21 to 25.
अर्जुन उवाच कैर्लिङ्गैस्त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतो भवति प्रभो किमाचारः कथं चैतान् त्रीन् गुणानतिवर्तते श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तिं च मोहमेव च पाण्डव न द्वेष्टि सम्प्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि काङ्क्षति उदासीनवदासीनः गुणैर्यो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इत्येव योऽवतिष्ठति नेङ्गते समदुःखसुखस्वस्थः समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरः तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः मानापमानयोस्तुल्यः तुल्यो मित्रारिपक्षयोः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी गुणातीतः स उच्यते.
To elaborate discussion on gunas and its manifestation, how they bind you, what direction does it take you in life while you are having those gunas predominantly in you, and in case you meet death with any of the gunas predominant, what direction you will take, etc., etc. Everything was discussed. And then a gunatita is one who goes beyond these gunas, is what Sri Krishna said. Understanding the nature of these gunas, one goes beyond these gunas. So Arjuna wanted to know what are the marks of a person who is gone beyond gunas. So what marks has he who has crossed over these three gunas, qualities, O Lord? What is his conduct? Now how do I know? I can only find out from the conduct. So how do I know from the conduct what kind of conduct that person will have? Achara. Now does he go beyond these three gunas? How to go beyond these three gunas? And once you've gone beyond these three gunas, what kind of nature you will have and what kind of conduct you will be expressing in this world. All this Arjuna is asking. Then Sri Krishna, as an answer to that, in fact, from 22 till 27, this entire chapter, only this discussion goes on. So, Sri Krishna answered Arjuna. He says, light, activity, and even delusion, O Pandava, he hates not when present, nor longs for them when absent. Prakasham, Pravrittin, Moham. These three words are used. Prakasham means light. Pravritti means activity. Moham, delusion. Indicating Satva, Rajas and Tamas. O Pandava, O Arjuna, a person who's crossed over the three gunas does not hate them when they are present, nor longs for them when absent. Meaning what? The gunas continue to exist even though the person has gone beyond the gunas, When we are talking about a person who's gone beyond the gunas, then we are talking about a person after enlightenment, functioning in this world. When a person who's gone beyond the gunas functioning in this world, we are talking about, obviously that person would be predominantly Satva, isn't it? Because he would have gone beyond Tamas, Rajas, and established himself in 100% Satva, that is self-realization. Because when you come to 100% Satva, 100% Satva cannot exist. So thus the person goes beyond gunas and liberates. But when we say that if we are seeing him acting, then he will be in that high level of Satva, meaning for that person also, to some extent, Tamas, Rajas, Satva will be functioning at the Prakriti level. Now you can't say, oh, he's enlightened or not, I will find out. How? If he yawns, if he's getting nidra, then obviously he is not a Siddha Prajna. Because he's yawning. Yawning is a sign of Tamas. Now we'll start talking like this in an absurd way. As long as the pure consciousness is seen expressing through the body, means there is subtle body, which is existing due to prarabdha. We've discussed all that. Now, that will have Tamas, Rajas, Satva, but Satva will be predominant. Now, that person, to whatever extent Tamas and Rajas is existing, doesn't hate them, doesn't crave for everything being Satva, doesn't crave for an ideal condition externally. Because the first thing we need to understand is, once we begin to understand Vedanta, we understand that there is no such thing as ideal condition in the world. World itself is not ideal. World is a poor reflection of that ideal reality. So there will be the pairs of opposites. There will be all the three gunas. In this world, everything has these three gunas. Nothing is free from the three gunas. So, therefore, there will be Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and he doesn't hate them when they are existing, nor does he crave for anything when they are not existing. In the sense, Prakriti is going on, expressing the gunas, and one who's liberated is identified with the Purusha within, the self within, and is looking at Prakriti as an onlooker, as a witness, as a Sakshi. Now, when he's looking upon them as Sakshi, it doesn't have any effect upon him. So that is all he wants to say. So whether they are present or not present, he is not dependent on them. See, when you understand the concept of Brahman and Maya, we say Maya is dependent on Brahman, whereas Brahman is independent of Maya. So when you have gone beyond the Prakriti and you have become one with Brahman, which is the reality, then you also become independent. Independent of their existence, independent of their non-existence, independent of their existing and functioning in a particular way, you become completely free from all that. That's all he wants to say. So there is zero dependence. Therefore, he remains free, immaterial of whatever the gunas are. So the identification with gunas are completely withdrawn, and the identification is fully now with the Atma, the self. Therefore, he remains or she remains completely indifferent. That's all he wants to say. Such a person, na dveshti sampravrittani, na nivarvrittani kankshati. They are there, we hate, isn't it? When we like something, if it is not there, we crave for it. We hate something, and if they are there, we hate it. The world affects us. The world affects us. The presence and absence affects us. In the case of a jnani, in the case of a guna atita, the presence or absence does not affect. This we have seen. Let's get on to the next shloka.
उदासीनवदासीनः गुणैर्यो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इत्येव योऽवतिष्ठति नेङ्गते.
He who seated like one unconcerned. Asinaha. Asinaha means seated. Yaha. One who. He who. Yaha. He who. Asinaha. Seated. How? Udasinavat. Udasinavat means that vat is very important. If you take away vat and read, it's dangerous. Udasinavat means like one unconcerned. Like one unconcerned is not unconcerned. Like one unconcerned. He who seated like one unconcerned. Udasinavat asinaha gunairyona vichalyate is not moved by gunas. Is not affected by gunas. Who, realizing that only gunas are functioning, gunas function, is firm and moves not. So, first he says, that person is seated, rooted. Is seated, rooted means established in the self. Asinaha is established himself in the self. As a result, he is unconcerned to the Prakriti, which is manifested as gunas in this world, and everything is gunas functioning. Guna, sattvic guna, running after sattvic things. Rajasic guna, running after rajasic things. Tamasic guna, running after tamasic things. Sattvic people flock to sattvic environment. Similarly, rajasic and tamasic. The gunas are functioning. I understand. Guna vartanta ityeva. He's already discussed this earlier. He said, Guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. We already discussed this in the third chapter. Third chapter we discussed long time ago. Because Sunday class also we are doing third chapter. There we have not yet come to this shloka. There we will discuss. Take some time. When we get there, we will discuss. Now, all he is saying is, the person is able to be remaining like unconcerned, unbiased. Unconcerned means unbiased. Neither there is bias for, nor there is bias against. There is no bias for nor against. This is possible only when you are watching, when you are seeing, when you have distanced yourself. That distance means knowledge. Remember that. Distance means it's not running away. I run away from, where can I run? Whenever you say distance, detached, all these words when we hear, how we should internally understand is knowledge. He already discussed, no? Prakriti Purusha was in elaborate discussion, already had been done between Sri Krishna and Arjuna. Because Arjuna asked in the 13th chapter, what is Prakriti, what is Purusha? What is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna? Known what is knowledge. All this he asked. And Sri Krishna answered all that. So Prakriti Purusha के बारे में already elaborate discussion हो चुका है. Meaning, it is understood that you understood about Prakriti and Purusha. Now, if you understood that, then you will be remaining unconcerned because you have identified with Purusha. You will be unconcerned with Prakriti and its manifestation, which is gunas. This entire universe is nothing but Prakriti manifestation. Gunas are manifested as individual. The gunas is manifested as this world, and there is transaction going on between gunas. मुझे कोई लेना देना नहीं. There is nothing, no give and take between me and Prakriti, between me and gunas. Gunas are functioning. What have I got to do with it? That's all he says. Now, when you do not know this, then what happens is you identify yourself with the gunas. Then you get affected. Because then you identified with your gunas, then if rajas is predominant, then you hate tamas and sattva. Then you long for rajas. If tamas is predominant, then you hate rajas and sattva, you long for tamas. You get affected. You cannot be unconcerned. If you identified with gunas and you start thinking that you are the gunas, then you will be affected. So this unconcerned means knowledge. The person is able to be unconcerned because of knowledge. Otherwise, he'll be affected. Now, unconcerned doesn't mean the person doesn't do anything concerning the experiences. That is being indifferent. Now, here the word udasina is not to be understood as indifferent, tamas, careless. No, that is not what he means here. By the word udasina. By the word udasina, couldn't careless is not what is meant. He cares, he tends to it. Right? But he understands Prakriti has its own. See, take the example of your children. In the Vyavahara, they have come through you. But if you analyze, you understand. To call my son as my son, to call my daughter as my daughter, is stupidity. I analyze. The seed which caused the child, I was able to produce the seed by the food digested. Not bhavanti bhutani. So I produce that by consuming a lot of food. And that food was produced by so many factors. The earth has contributed, the moon has contributed, the sun has contributed, so many factors have contributed. So, the Prakriti used my body, which is Prakriti, and has manifested another Prakriti in the form of my son, my daughter. If I understand that, then I will not claim my children as my children. So, I'll be detached. They have a different guna, maybe. I don't know. Ravana was born to a Brahmana, but he had a particular vasana, which they bring. They are bringing those vasanas. So what do I do? As much as possible, I'll be concerned in bringing up my kids. But I do understand the gunas function. So as much as possible, which is in my control, with concern, I will do. So there is concern, at the same time I am unconcerned. Similarly, when we talk about a guna atita being unconcerned, it should not be understood as totally indifferent. Indifference, from the way we use the term, we mean tamas. You understand? That is not how he will be. So he who seated like one unconcerned. Meaning, very much concerned. At the same time, understands that gunas are functioning. Why I should get involved? So there is zero involvement. When you do not know, then you get involved. Because you don't understand that you are also expression of gunas. So the aham kartrutva is there. So you have internalized these gunas and you said, I am this. Now the moment you are this, then the pairs of opposites will have effect on you. That's all he's saying. So that objectivity comes because of this knowledge of Prakriti and Purusha. And you understand that Prakriti is what is functioning. I have nothing to do with it. I've gone beyond the gunas. So I understand that the gunas are going about functioning in the world. I have nothing to do with it. So he who's seated like one unconcerned is not moved by gunas. Gunair yona vichalyate. Gunai yaha na vichalyate. Meaning he is not affected, moved by the gunas, by the expression of these gunas. By seeing these gunas functioning, he doesn't go through any ups and downs within himself. How? Why? Because he has clear knowledge. What knowledge? That's what he's saying. They are very firm. They have a very clear knowledge. Guna vartanta iti eva. They have this clear knowledge. Guna vartanta. Gunas function. And they are very firm in that knowledge. Therefore, na ingate. Ingate means na ingate. They are not moved. So firstly he says they are not moved. They remain unconcerned. Why they are not concerned? How they are able to remain unconcerned and not be moved? That he explains. He says because they have the knowledge that the gunas are functioning, not me. As long as I think I am the one, then it's the problem. Right? Now, somebody calls Rama in the class, you will say yes, because your name is Rama. Somebody calls Shiva, then you say yes. Why? Because your name is Shiva. You don't get affected. But they generally look at all of us in the class and then say, fool. We get affected. Why? Why is he calling me a fool? He just used the word fool. Now, whether he used it to call you or call somebody, you don't know. But you attributed that word fool to yourself. Therefore, you are affected. Fool is a word he used. He could have even used it to identify you in the group. He might call you as fool. But just because he calls you a fool, you don't become a fool. Right? You allowed that word fool to come into you. You tied yourself with it. Therefore, you are suffering. Now, supposing you say, listen, analysis. In his analysis, I am a fool. But he is analyzed so because he first of all doesn't know how to analyze. Secondly, he has not taken all the factors into consideration. Therefore, obviously, he's come to wrong conclusion. It's not about me. It is about someone who thinks it's me. So how do I get? Will you get affected? You won't get affected. Otherwise, you also say, how dare you call me fool? You are an idiot. Buffalo, you get involved. That's all he's saying. Realizing that only gunas function. Guna, guneshu vartante. Gunas in the form of the individual is relating with gunas in the form of the world. And this tamasha is going on. Then I remain deeply inside objective. Watching the whole tamasha, remaining a what? Unconcerned witness. That's what it means. So, Remember this. Whenever we talk about balance, being balanced in both this thing, that thing, like that, in many ways we have discussed this. What is discussing here is already discussed in the second chapter, in the 12th chapter. All these qualities that is mentioned, everywhere is discussed already. So this balance, when we talk about. Now, when the balance will come, for the balance to come, you have to be watchful. If you are not watchful, if you are not mindful, if you are not aware, you will lose balance. The moment you start watching, balance comes. Simple. So, there is this, when he talks about unconcerned, not moved, being balanced, all that means the person is looking at them, watching them, being aware of them functioning, clearly distinguishing himself from the scene. The scene is gunas playing about. That's all. Now, when the gunas play about, does it always play about in the way it brings pleasure to you? Does it always play about in the way it will bring pain to you? It can play about. That he explains in the next verse.
समदुःखसुखस्वस्थः समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरः तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः.
Tulya means, sama means one and the same. Both mean same. They are not different. Different words are used, but meaning is same. So what he's saying is, in this shloka number 24, he to whom joy, sorrow are same. So, sama, dukkha, sukha. Dukkha means sorrow. Sukha means joy. Sama, dukkha, sukha. Swastaha. Swastaha means one who's rooted in the self, established in the self, seated in the self, not moved out. In fact, for the word health in Sanskrit is swastha. Right? So, the moment we move away from us, we fall into disease, we fall ill. When we are within ourselves, we don't fall ill. The moment we move away from us, illness comes. How does the illness come? Desire comes. When the desire comes, we eat all kinds of food. Oily, all that. Then it does something to you. You fall ill. If you remain within the self, no desire, no problem. So therefore he says, swastha, the person who is established in the self, remains the same in joy and sorrow. He to whom? He means who? Which person? Swastha. For the swastha, one who is rooted in the self, joy and sorrow are same. And then he says, Samaloshtashma kanchanaha. Samaloshtashma kanchanaha means the three different material things he's mentioning here. Kanchana means gold. Right? So when he says Samaloshtashma kanchanaha, he's talking about Loshta, earth, Ashma, stone, and Kanchana, gold. So earth, stone, and gold. Three different expressions of same Prakriti. Same Prakriti has at the matter level manifested as earth, stone, gold. Okay. Now, each of them are valued differently at different times. Once upon a time, gold was more valuable than stone and earth. Then stone became more valuable, then earth became more valuable. These things keep changing. But when whatever is more valuable you get, you will be in joy, extreme joy. Whatever is less valuable you will get, you will say sorrow. So, to whom a clod of earth, stone and gold are same, to whom pleasant and unpleasant are alike, the wise to him much censure and praise are alike. So, in this shloka he says, Sama Dukkha Sukham. For whom? For Swastha. Sama Loshtashva Kanchanaha is same in earth, gold and stone. Then Tulya Priya Priya means Priya Apriya, pleasant and unpleasant. And he calls such a person as Dhiraha. Dhiraha means wise fellow, wise person, knowledgeable person. With wisdom, he is able to be balanced. And he says, Tulya Nindatma Samstutihi. Stuti means praising. Ninda means criticizing. Censure. So that's what he's saying. To censure and praise, he remains the same. To whom censure and praise are alike. Now, this alike, same, all these words that he's using, does it mean that he doesn't understand the difference? He, of course, understands the difference. He clearly understands the difference between all of them at the Vyavaharika level. But at the absolute, he understands that all these are nothing but the expression of the same divinity. So, depending upon my likes and dislikes, inside there is pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, excitement, joy, dejection, sorrow, censure, praise, all these at different levels. Material level, physical level, mental level, intellectual level. All this is mentioning. Censure, praise, intellectual level. Pleasant, unpleasant, physical level. Joy, sorrow, mental level. Earth, stone, gold, material level. So, at all these levels, the differences are being seen by that person. So, first of all, the fact that these differences are being spoken about means the differences are seen. But these differences, he doesn't see them different. He though realizes and sees the difference, for him all are same. That's the beauty. What he's trying to say, all are same. For the kids, they make different toys out of sugar, crystallized sugar. Nicely they make. Now, the children are seeing all of them as horse, elephant, tiger. I want tiger, one child says. I want horse. I want elephant. You understand, all are nothing but sugar. Do you see any difference? So, this knowledge is there in the guna atita. That is always there. That's the beauty. This wisdom remains always. In our case, what happens? After the class, 7 o'clock, gone. Somebody has to just come and in the class call full. He just said full. He didn't say, addressing you. But that is enough. Did he say me? Did he mean me by calling full? It looks like everything seems to be is addressing me only. He thinks he's very smart. You start thinking about all that. So, the wise seated The wise person is swastaha, is the one who is rooted in the self, seated in the self. So this wisdom is not uprooted by any of this. In other words, when he practiced in the net, he was hitting the ball that deserved to be hit for a 6. He was hitting 6. Same thing he did when he came to the ground also. In the ground also, when the ball was something that needs to be hit for a 6, he hit it for a 6. Something that needed to be defended, he defended. There is no difference. You understand? It is the way he is seeing, the way he lives. In his achara, there is no contradiction. There is no contradiction. See, in our case, what happens? Yeah, what is there? Earth comes, earth goes. Gold comes, gold goes. This is what we will be talking. But in our achara, gold comes, we get excited. Isn't it? Or stone comes, even more excited. Stone means we are talking about diamonds. You get even more excited. Much more excited you become if somebody gave you land, which is a lot more valuable, especially near the new airport that they've announced. That means the cost is going to go so much more. You get excited more. What your wisdom is something else. What your conduct is something else. Because Arjuna asked, no, conduct. So he's saying, conduct mein koi farak nahi padega. He will not be saying that there is no difference, but in actually he will be feeling the difference. No. Here, what he will be inside, he will be outside also. That's what he wants to say. So he is saying to that person at the material level, you understand that these things keep on changing now. Suddenly they say this price has gone up, this price has come down. These things are bound to happen in the world. And somebody, if they have the potential to praise you now, they're praising you now, means they can criticize you also. Those people who are praising you now, they can criticize you tomorrow. The same fellows who are criticizing praise you tomorrow. So these things are changing factors, variable factors. This is at the prakriti level, guna level. My identification is at a much deeper level. I means the person who is wise. That person's identification is at a much deeper level. Since his identification is at much deeper level, these things doesn't affect. See, even those people who invest in the market and all that, first of all, you should understand that even very, very, so-called great economists finding it difficult. We have Maithili ji in our class. She's into all this economics and all that. Now, even she cannot predict. Now, what Mr. Trump will do tomorrow morning, Mr. Trump himself doesn't know. You understand? How you will know when he himself doesn't know? So, there are so many factors over which I have no control. So, you can, analyze this factor, that factor. At the same time, you understand some new unknown factor can come. I don't know. With all that, still what will you say? You put the money in this, but put the money which you are not dependent on. Sorry, which you are not dependent, correct, which you are not dependent on. Then Whatever Mr. Trump thinks tomorrow, because of which it goes up or comes down, it doesn't affect me. If I am dependent on it, if I am dependent on that income, then what will happen? Whole night I'll be worried because when I am sleeping, Mr. Trump will be awake in the night. And what he will say, God knows. And then when I wake up, am I going to wake up with a heart attack or what? I don't know. So therefore, this is what he is trying to say here. This knowledge brings the balance. This wisdom brings the balance. This is the real benefit. The moment I know, my life starts becoming balanced. Doesn't mean that everything changes in my life. Only joy will be there, only sorrow will be. Who said? Only pleasant things will happen or what? Our ashram was flooded near Lonavala. It is very close to Indriani River in Malavali. So it was flooded for 2 days. All the fellows who were staying in the ground floor had to shift to the first floor. All that was happening. So 2 days, all these people are studying Bhagavad Gita. Why flood went there? How can flood go there? Oh, that means these fellows are not doing proper sadhana. Correct? If they were doing proper sadhana, flood will not come. What fantastic logic. You have a ashram or a house or whatever, hospital, very close to the river. Obviously, the water can come when it rains and it goes beyond control. So you understand that. So the point here is that the moment you have the wisdom, world continues to be the same. Pleasant things can come, unpleasant things can come. And it can be something that brings you joy, it can be something that brings you sorrow. It can be something very valuable in the world, need not be something valuable. Not so valuable rather. Somebody praising you, somebody criticizing you. All these levels, there are these differences. I do understand that. I do see that. But the benefit is I don't get involved in them. They cannot affect me. The power to make me disturb, unless I give it to them, they cannot disturb me. I am the one who's been foolishly giving it to them. Now I withdrew. I don't give that power to them anymore. That's all he's saying. He gets free from the influence of material possession, physical environment, emotional joy, and intellectual validation. Whatever may be the validation of the world. The world can say that Krishna was a warmonger, brutal killer. He needs to be tried in international court for forcing Arjuna to get into this world war. Maybe. That's what some people think. Let them think. He is not bothered. So that's what he's trying to say. There were people who thought like that during that time. Even now, people are thinking like that about Sri Krishna. There are people who said, my God, if it was not for Sri Krishna, righteousness would have not been established. Same action, two views. Vedanta ko all kinds of school of thoughts are there. Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, the Advaita, all kinds of school of thoughts are there. You will be comfortable with all schools of thoughts. You won't unnecessarily get perturbed when somebody comes up with another school of thought. In future, there can come any number of school of thought. It won't affect you. That's all he's saying. So, going beyond gunas means what? Understanding that gunas are the expression of Prakriti, and this whole world is nothing but gunas manifesting both the subject and object, and really speaking, the subject is Purusha, and I identify with the Purusha, not with the gunas. Once I identify with the Purusha, I will be sitting inside and watching the tamasha. As much as I am watching, that much I will be balanced. That much I will be same in everything. When I move, when I am not swastha, the moment I move from that, then all my trouble starts. That's the thing. See, a person does some action. Fraud, whatever fraud he is doing. The fraud fellow will commit a fraud and he'll go into hibernation for a while. Correct? Now, they know that the vasanas, gunas are there in that fellow. He cannot be in hibernation forever. One day he'll come out of hibernation and he will switch on the mobile phone. Once the mobile phone switches on, they'll say, hey, this phone is activated in this place. Immediately they'll call that police office there. They'll say, go there. You understand? So it cannot remain in hibernation for long. So the gunas are there, they manifest. And each will have certain effects. But that effects will have no effect upon you. That's the point. It will definitely have joy or sorrow. Obviously, even a Mahatma who has this knowledge, when someone near is going through trouble, that sorrow will be felt. But you understand, that person is going through that sorrow because of karma. But I am seeing that person going through trouble, whatever way I can help for him to deal with that situation, I will do. So the sorrow is there, but I am not affected by it. Whereas the other fellow, while he goes through the sorrow, he is affected by it. That's all he's saying. He to whom joy and sorrow are same. Now a lot of people misunderstand this. Baba, that means this fellow is so tamasic that he doesn't even know the difference. Huh? He's not able to pick up. That is extreme tamas. Those who are in extreme tamas, they don't know anything. He's not like that. He's gone beyond Satva also. So he knows the difference. That's the point. He knows more than you and me. Like, he knows the difference between charcoal and diamond. But he also knows one more factor. What? Both are actually carbon. Carbon in different molecular structure is diamond. Another molecular structure is charcoal. And each of them have different gunas externally. Diamond is hard, charcoal is soft. It leaves a mark. Diamond can cut through certain things. So there are differences there externally. You understand? And diamond is valued more, charcoal is valued less compared to diamond. But coal also is not that cheap. Okay. So the point is, you know the difference. You know very well the difference between charcoal and diamond. But you won't bear it anymore upon you. Why? You understand that charcoal and carbon are same. There's a story they say, one fellow who's dealing with gold biscuits. He took a lot of gold biscuits with him and went to an ashram. He was carrying it in a bag. And in the ashram, he was studying, and they came to this verse 24, chapter 14. Samaloshta kanchana. Everything is same. So he understood. He said, I developed vairagya now. I understood that gold, all are same. It is equal to mud only. I understood. Then the Guru said, then keep the gold back here and go. So, how can I keep the gold back here and go? Why should I? So he said, listen, if you were carrying a bag which you thought was having gold in it, but when you opened and saw it after coming to the ashram, you saw that what was inside is only bricks. Now, will you leave it in the ashram and go, or will you carry it back? You leave it, na? So, you thought you were carrying gold, but now you understood that you were actually carrying only bricks. So, you were carrying all these things because you thought that these things will bring me the security, peace, and happiness. But now you understood that they cannot bring security, peace, and happiness to me because they are one and the same. What same? They all belong to what category? Perishable category, coming and going category. Agamapa in a category. From that category, they are same. Within that category, some may be more valuable, some may be less valuable. But they all belong to only one category. What category? Agamapa inaha. They come and go category. Impermanent. So this is what he means by saying, understanding that they are same. Understanding that they are same means they all belong to the changing category. They all belong to the impermanent category. Once I understood that they are all belonging to the impermanent category, I won't carry it on my shoulder. Isn't it? So I am carrying is the problem. So when you know the truth about yourself, which is not really carrying anything, which is a non-doer, then you drop carrying anything. You understand that these are impermanent factors. That is the only real factor. And I have merged myself with that permanent factor. Then I will not carry. Meaning what? In the Vyavaharika, I may be carrying them. Isn't it? In the Vyavaharika, I may be carrying them. But Paramarthika, I won't have the thought that I am carrying them. So when I don't have the thought that I am carrying them, they won't affect me. He's saying that only here. All that he's saying is they all belong to one category only. What category? Come and go. Everything belongs to that category. Whatever is mentioned here, joy comes and goes. Sorrow comes and goes. Earth, stone, gold, come and go. Pleasant, unpleasant, come and go. Sensual praise comes and goes. So they all belong to one category. But there is another one. What is that? Not coming and going category, which is always existing category. Eternal, Sashwatam. And that, when I'm seated in, when I'm rooted in that, from that when I look, these things doesn't affect. That's all he's saying. So it's not like they don't know the difference. He knows the difference, but they all belong to one category. Prakriti category, coming and going category, gunas category. Therefore, it doesn't affect. That's all he's saying. So like this, In life, when we have got the knowledge, that knowledge will bring balance in our life. So, the more and more we understand and we start being objective, we start leading a balanced life. When it comes to self-realization, enlightenment, it's 100%. 100% balanced. That's all he's saying. So, samaloshtasma kancana. So, this word sama is used very often. In the 5th chapter also he says, a Brahmana is one who is samam. He is humble. A wise person is equal. She is Brahmana and Chandala are same, he says. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavi Hastini Sunishchaiva Sopakecha Pandita Samadarshina. So this Samadarshana comes when he has only two categories, impermanent, permanent category, and these belong to the impermanent category, therefore doesn't being identified with permanent, impermanent doesn't affect. Let's continue the discussion next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.